Come on.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Controversy Lab.
Where controversy is key.
I am your host, LaKale House.
And I am RTJ.
All right, guys. So welcome back, Controversy Lab. We apologize for being off schedule. This guy right here actually was out of town. He was out of state doing some coaching stuff.
Yeah, had to go to Nebraska. Had to take my team. They ain't never been.
And they lost. I'm like, why would you take them little kids out there and disappoint them like that and just get them drugged through the mud, bro?
Well, it's about experience. It's about experience. They're 15 years old.
I'm joking. They need the experience.
Yeah, majority of them haven't even actually been out of the state of Georgia. And this, for a majority of the team, this is actually their first AAU team.
Right.
So to have that experience and then go to a whole different state, and pretty much nobody really goes to.
Right.
And to get that experience, so I did it.
Okay, guys. Well, welcome back. We're glad to have you back in the A.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? You know,
cheers to you.
I was actually gonna just start shooting by myself, like shit. He ain't here, fuck it. But I was like, nah, man, ain't the same, man. Ain't the same without RTJ, man.
It's
ain't the same without RTJ.
About the mix of the two.
Yeah. So what are we talking about today for the people? Let you pick the topic.
What's his name? What do we call him? Kevin's, not Karen's, but Kevin's or Kyle's.
Kyle's.
Today
we're talking about Jonathan Pentland today.
Jonathan Pentland. For those
for those of you who haven't necessarily seen the video, there's a video of a young black male. It looks like he's like 18 maybe at the most. I wouldn't even give him more than that. Like, he looks extremely young. And he's walking through a neighborhood, and he's approached by a 42-year-old sergeant in the military, in the Army. He's actually, I think he's a sergeant over the basic training. One of the biggest basic training centers that we have actually in the country, Fort Jackson. And so being a sergeant, over at Fort Jackson, I'm assuming this high testosterone is just a part of who he is. But the one thing that, I was kind of curious about is, do you take this same type of energy towards black people back to Fort Jackson with you when you're doing your basic training? Like, because that was the bigger question to me. It's like, clearly you're fucking racist or prejudiced, one of the two. Like, you have a serious fucking issue. Like, he's fucking seen in the video. If you haven't seen the video,
go watch it.
Go watch the video.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is he was pushing this young man, like, in his face, intimidating him. The first thing that came to my mind was he would not do that shit to me if I was walking down the sidewalk. You can clearly tell the size difference.
So that was one thing I seen, and it was like, that's like he saw that was overbearing. Like, I'm standing over you, so I can feel like I feel like I can basically do whatever I want to you. And with him doing that, even with the boy, and I'm gonna say a boy, because he is reported to be 18, but we don't know how long he's been 18.
So he's actually 18 years old.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's been reported.
I hit the fucking nail on the head. Shit.
Yeah. So he and like, the thing is, he's trying not to be, I take it as him being respectful. He's just trying not to get into a physical altercation or make the situation worse. He tries to leave, and then that's when this white dude then starts pushing him. And I have a huge problem with that, because look, I'm trying to get away from the situation. You're trying to escalate the situation. You're trying to make it worse. So at that point, you put your hands on me. I don't give a fuck what your rank is. I don't care who you are.
So one thing that bothers me that's a little bit worse than what he did was the fact that the police were called. There were two innocent bystanders that actually were recording the whole incident, and they came to the aid of the young man.
Two women.
Yeah, and then so basically they actually called the police. The police actually came. Here's the crazy part that gets me. Here's the crazy part that gets me, right? The police refused to charge him with battery or assault
at first, because
till days later. Initially, the police said all they could charge him with was breaking the young man's phone. I think the classification that they used was malicious injury to property.
Yeah.
Malicious injury to property, no assault, no battery, no nothing, which from their perspectives wasn't even an arrestable offense. They wanted to charge him with breaking the young man's phone. Let's be clear on something so everybody understands the bullshit and the racism or prejudice that this police department is exuding. If anyone touches you, I don't give a fuck if it's a finger. If I poke you, that can be considered as battery.
And also, what makes it worse is that if
it's any unwanted touch.
So we're clear. If they saw the video, I'm just guessing that they showed the video. If they saw the video and it was like we still can't arrest them, then I think those officers, those cops, and I try not to say officers because officers are elected officials, and police officers are only the chiefs and are only the chiefs because they got elected into that spot. But the police, if they saw that video, those police that saw that video, if they were shown the video, have to be fired because they're not doing their job.
Yeah, they have to be fired. Like there's no question. Like you have to be terminated. Like you don't deserve to be a police officer because at the end of the day, you're literally seeing a young man who's 18 years old getting assaulted and by someone who's 42 years old who's in the military, who used to be in a combat division in New York. So, you know, he's a trained killer, right? And you're assaulting an 18-year-old kid because he's walking through the neighborhood that he lives in. The funny part was the young man said, I live in this neighborhood.
So,
and they were like, well, we'll walk you home. Show us where you live. And he's like, I'm not going to show you where I live. He was like, how long have you lived here? And then the sergeant's like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah,
Why does it not matter how long you've been in the neighborhood, but it matters how long this young black man's been in the neighborhood?
It's just that one of those things where now, and it's happening more and more and more. It's like, you need to show me your freedom card.
Right.
Like, show me that you're free. Show me that you're allowed to walk around here without surveillance or without your handler. And that's pretty much getting on my nerves. And I'm really waiting.
Well, we pretty much saw how that shit went. Because the motherfuckers cleared the block. Showed up in motherfucking troves.
So
at your front door. Here's the thing that you guys are starting to notice. And I'm going to say this, whether you believe it or not, black people, regardless of, you know, how we treat each other, we've always been a very calm and forgiving people when it comes to other people committing atrocities against us. Like, that's the one thing I hate. Like, we've always just been, because when they freed us from slavery, they thought that we were going to revolt and stand up and overthrow the government. We're like, nah, we're just cool with freedom. We're cool. We chilling. And year after year after year of us witnessing cops kill our people and get away with it, we're like, okay, we're cool. We're going to protest. Now it's to the point where we showing up at your motherfucking house in troves. Like, come outside. Because we getting tired of this bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
And one of the things is, like, people are like, oh, because they start throwing rocks at his house and broke his windows. Okay. What's the problem?
I don't see a problem.
He shouldn't have started the shit. Like, I hate to say this, but what is it? All fair in love and war?
Yeah.
You're in a war now. You did some shit you had no business doing, so you now have to reap the consequences that comes with it.
The one thing that I hate is that, like, I wasn't present, like, when this little young man was getting pushed around. Like, I would have loved to have been driving down the street and look out my window and see this 18-year-old kid getting shoved around by this 42-year-old sergeant. Like, I'm pulling the fuck over.
Why white people always say that?
I'm pulling the fuck over.
When they caught on video pushing and doing some physical shit to somebody who ain't really doing nothing, they always say that, oh, they was being aggressive. Huh? That's what he told. That's literally what he said. He said this dude was being aggressive. He's the aggressor. The victim.
I mean, you're the one telling this dude, don't talk to my fucking wife. And like, dude, did you see the picture of his wife? I see why he's angry. I see why he's angry. Like, his wife is trash, bro. Like, it's trash. Like, terrible. Like, hideous.
I kind of saw.
And I'm like, dude,
the victim thing coming. I mean, that's nothing.
I understand why you're upset. Like, you married this chick, dude. You got to wake up to this chick every day. Like, this chick is busted. But anyway, I mean, we could talk about this all day. You know, he was actually charged with third-degree assault. Then he bonded out. Once he bonded out, the military then spoke up once they saw the video on Twitter, I believe, and they said that they were going to investigate the matter.
I got a problem with that.
Yeah, there's speculation that they're going to discipline him or fire him. We don't know what the fuck's going to happen. Like, I don't foresee the military firing him for some shit like this. I could be wrong. I don't know. They may just discipline him and, you know, take a rank or some shit. But, you know, like, in order for you to get a dishonorable discharge, like, it has to be something really, really severe that you do. And I really can't see the military.
To me, honestly, this is severe.
No. To me, it's severe. To you, it's severe. I'm talking about the eyes of the military. Like, I can't see them being like, oh, you treated this kid poorly in your neighborhood. We're going to dishonorable discharge you.
You're supposed to. You're wearing that uniform, so you're a representation of that uniform. And to be very honest with you, he can actually, if he decides to press charges and also sue this white dude, I don't even want to say his name, this white dude. If he sues this white dude, he also is taking a lawsuit against the military because he is employed by the military. This is a representation of you. So I'm up for him taking, pressing charges, filing a civil suit. And I need the military to do more than just, say, hey, you know what, we're going to take a rank from. Nah.
Yeah, he should definitely be fired. So basically, you know, the issue is, and the reason why I feel like he should be terminated is because, you know, he is a staff sergeant over a training facility where you have all different types of people that come into this training facility. It's the biggest facility in the country. So you have all types of Mexican Americans, Asian Americans, African Americans, Hindu Americans. And the thing is, my question is, like, do you have this type of hate and dismay in your heart for every other nationality outside of who you would consider to be true blood Americans?
They gotta see if there's any complaints about him through training. They gotta look at the complaints. They gotta look at who did the complaints. He needs to be fired. He needs to be terminated because this is a racial incident, and this guy's supposed to be representing your country. And when he goes overseas and does this, he is still representing your country. If you are not about racism, so you say, you need to get rid of this guy who has been caught being racist on video, and you know that the words and the hurt is in his vocabulary, so he needs to be done with.
But you know, the controversial perspective, of course, for me, I got to put it out there, is that
it's not gonna happen.
Is racism is America?
Like
because when you think about it, like when people protest racism, America stands up and protests the people protesting racism.
Yeah.
So America is racism. That's the whole point, right? So it's like, I'm curious to see what the military is going to do about it. Like, I would hope that they would fire the guy, but I'm not holding my fucking breath because I already know what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're probably going to slap him on the fucking wrist.
Anybody who's been in the military in any branch of the military, you know that shit is heavily racist.
Yeah, it's very racist. Yeah, you know. But I will say that and I'll say this, and we'll close out this episode. I did realize, and I saw, like, in my short time in Iraq, when I worked over in Iraq overseas, and West Bayat, I did notice that racism is very prevalent, but there is also a strong stance against racism at the same time. So you do have where you could see, oh, that's clearly racist. But then I remember, like, there was one guy that was over us, and he made all the black people go out and sweep the sand. And then one of the
what?
Yeah, so where we were stationed at, there was actually a lot of sand and dirt roads. Well, sand, because there's mainly sand in Iraq, but a lot of sand roads that led to cement roads or gravel. And then so we didn't have an aircraft coming in because we worked at the post office, you know, Connex's in West Bayat. We didn't have any aircraft coming in because we had sandstorms. So they didn't want us sitting around. So the guy that was over us was like, you know, he picked out people by hand and had us out there sweeping like one of the sand trails, like the sand roads. And a colonel rode by and saw us out there sweeping, and then he pulled the guy to the side, and then the guy ended up getting fired. He was like, why would you have them out there sweeping the fucking sand? And well, I don't want them sitting around. He was like, and it was mainly black people out there. And the colonel actually saw, like, you have all black people out here sweeping the fucking sand while you sit and watch them in your SUV with AC blowing, and it's 100 degrees out here. Shortly after he got fired. But the colonel was actually white. So the thing is, there is a strong presence of racism that I've noticed in the military, but there also is a strong presence of some individuals that are against racism. So, but that embodies what America is. We have one stance of people that are with it, some people that are not with it. But at the end of the day, we can talk about this all goddamn day. But at the end of the day, let us know what you think about the case, Mr. Pentland putting his hands on an 18-year-old kid. How would you have handled it? I mean, if I was riding by, he'd have got this smoke just on GP. He'd have got this smoke. But, you know, let us know how you guys feel in the comment section. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and IG.
And also, next week, we will be starting to be on all platforms where you can just listen to us.
You ain't did it yet, bro?
You just sent me the email, bro.
This guy's terrible. Who run this show? I run this show. Upload videos, edit videos, do the sound. I tell you to do one thing. One thing.
I love this guy.
We're out. Controversy Lab, we're out.